Hello everyone. In today's video, we're going to be answering a question I saw come up on the Discord as well as the forums a couple times, asking about bomb penetration. What does it actually mean in command? So the short version is it matters a lot. It doesn't matter a lot. It completely depends on the application, the type of explosive you're using, and everything along those lines. But as a general rule, a weapon that can penetrate a certain type of armor will be able to mostly 100% penetrate it. But even if you have something that can penetrate, it won't. So you're saying, okay, make your point here. All right, let's do it. So for example, let's go ahead and fire up our database viewer for a second here. Let's grab ourselves a ship that we know can take some punishment, and we'll use the battleship Iowa here for an example. If we were to scroll down here and take a look at its armor, you'll notice that it says special 201 to 500 millimeters. That doesn't mean that it has 500 millimeters of armor. It just means that its armor itself happens to be extremely strong. Another way to think about this too is if we pop over to facility, if I type in bunker, for example, we'll do a service bunker. If I scroll on down here, you'll notice it also has the special. Now, if I got something that was a little bit lighter, so let's grab a BMP-1, for example, you'll notice that this particular one has no armor. And you're probably saying, hey, that doesn't make any sense. Well, you have to remember that these are groups of units that you're actually taking a look at. But, for example, if I wanted to take, let's grab myself a generic barracks. That looks pretty good to me. And if you come down here, you'll notice it has light. So now you're like, okay, so I can see there's light armor, there's medium armor, there's heavy armor, there's special armor. So what does that mean as far as weapons goes? Well, let's go pop over to weapons real quick. Let's say I take something that is good old-fashioned here. We'll do a Mark 81, which is getting a little old school, but hey, it works pretty well to me. Click on that sucker, and you'll see if I scroll down here that its warhead is a Mark 81, 250 pounds, and it's a 67.5. But notice there's nothing in here about any special penetration. On the flip side, if I grab a BLU 116, for example, which, oh boy, now this thing can go through anything. It's pretty cool if you've actually seen this thing in action. You'll notice when we scroll down to its weapon, it says the word penetrator. Unfortunately, the information that tells us what the total penetration of a particular weapon is actually obfuscated in the database here. So even though it says the word penetrator, there's actually another variable in here that we can't see on this page that would actually tell you precisely how penetrating it is. But let's go ahead and do an example anyway so that you can get a feeling for it. So we're sitting here up, and this is, zoom out a bit, we're up in Canada today, because why not? We have ourselves an F-18E. He's loaded up with some nice little GBU-38s. These are Mark 82s, by the way, and we notice that they do a total of 130 damage. So what I'm going to have him do here is I'm going to have him to speckle things. We have a wooden house, we have a brick house, and we have a straw house. I know you're sitting there going, I see what you did there. But that's perfectly fine, too. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and take a look at what these houses actually are. Our straw houses consist of tents. So in this particular case, it's just a simple surface building. It has no armor, which means every bit of damage that I cause with that bomb is going to 100% affect it. So if we hit this tent with a bomb, remember a bomb itself here, if I bring it up again real quickly, we can see that it does, scrolling down here, 130 damage, and we know that we have a total of, let's take a look here, I don't think we have anything, this is a group of things, 25 damage. We expect this to be obliterated. Now, if I come over here and take a look at my wooden house, go ahead and pop this one open here. Let's go ahead and take them look side by side here. We know that this armor is light, but we're attacking it with a non-armor piercing weapon. So the damage points is 300. The weapon itself, like I said, is doing 130. So if this building had no armor, we'd expect it to take 130 damage evenly. So if we do 130 into, let's see here, it's going to be 300 total. We expect this thing to be 43% damaged if it takes an even hit. So let's go ahead and try that out. Meanwhile, our brick house over here, if I click this one real fast, we can see that he has 1,600 damage points, which means a direct hit with a Mark 82, if there was no armor involved, would do a total of 8% damage, which would be nothing. But it has a special armor. So let's see what actually happens when we drop the weapons. So we'll go ahead and lock onto the straw house here. We'll go ahead and deliver a Mark 82 to you. You get a Mark 82. You get a Mark 82. And you get a Mark 82. Let's go ahead and make this guy a little bit more proficient to speed him up a little bit. Ace. And we'll let those weapons go ahead and get released. This is one of the great things about platforms like this, is they can just sort of blah, 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 at the bottom, and that's good to go. Unfortunately for him, he's got no place to go home to, so he's just going to have to sort of deploy his weapons and go home kind of a thing. Get out of here. Here they come. Here they come. Pause. Let's go ahead and switch to the other scene real quickly so they can receive the gift that I'm dropping from the sky for them. And we'll clean that message log out too. Boom. 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 Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at the damage log, what actually happened here. So my straw house got hit first. As a matter of fact, the straw house was damaged by the damage from the wooden house across the way. So we expected the straw house to be obliterated. Yeah, but if you take a look, it actually suffered 46 points of damage from the explosion of the wooden house. Holy smokes. Then it took another 53, which is exactly more than enough to put that poor thing of tents out of business. Meanwhile, our wooden house took a total of 264. Our damage report over here instantly caught fire. And of course, our brick house, look at this. A whopping 16.7 damage here. So if I actually click on him, remember, we expected him to be 8% damaged if he had no armor. If we actually take a look at his total damage, he's 1% damaged, which means the armor reduction was 90%. You're sitting here going, wait, what? Take a look here. When we have a weapon hit, you can actually see sometimes what it is, but we're going to go down to weapon damage. So our one that hit the wooden house here, I just bonked. The house was penetrated. Notice 92% of the damage got through. Remember, this was, if you want to think about it on a scale, this was basically minimum armor here, but it still absorbed 8% of the total damage. Coming down to my GBU 38 here, it impacted the big house and basically exploded. The armor was penetrated, but look at this. Only 4% of the damage got through because, again, you're using a non-penetrator against something that has special armor. So you're sitting there going, okay, I'm starting to get it a little bit. So basically, the stronger the armor is, the more damage reduction it gets when it's hit with something that doesn't penetrate it. Yes. So let's spin it around a little bit. I'm now going to take my Super Hornet here. I'm going to replace it real quickly with the 2008 version, and we're going to switch it with these really, really, really fancy weapons. In case you've never played with one of these before, these are super fun. These are BLU 116s. What a BLU 116 is basically an ultra bunker buster. It basically can get through anything and everything that you smack into it. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to stay consistent here and stick with the GBU 31 family so that we stick to that basically same size. So grab that one right there. I'm actually going to grab a couple of these so that we can drop them all at once. Go ahead and move him into position here. Looks pretty good. So let's take a look at this weapon real quick. I'm going to press the GBU 31, scroll down here, and you'll notice now it gives us the same thing. You can see it does 363 damage, and it says the word penetrator. Again, we don't know exactly how much penetration this weapon has because we don't have that information in the database that we have access to. So I'm going to grab that real quickly. I'm just going to go ahead and deliver some death here. Let's go ahead and up the proficiency just a teeny bit here. Set unit proficiency. We'll set it to ace. We'll go do one of these things. Let's see here. You get a bomb. You get a bomb. And you know what? You get a bomb too. I'm so mean. Now, here's what we expect. We're expecting that because we're a penetrator warhead, that more of our damage is actually going to get through. So I'm going to go ahead and deliver those delicious death devices. Switch over to the other side real quick. Here they come. Now, remember, last time this guy got hit by some of the debris, and it actually almost blew him up, which is amazing if you think about it. Weapons incoming. Slow down time. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, wooden house gone. Boom, 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 boom. Now, this is an interesting anomaly. You'll notice the brick house took no damage. It took no damage because, unfortunately for us, the weapon malfunctioned. It happens. That's why you always have a backup. Okay, fire another one. It didn't make my point. Okay, that's a little better. All right, get out of here. All right, thank you. Sweet. So let's go ahead and take a look at what happened here. So we'll go to weapon endgame. Obviously, we got a weapon hit. Weapon damage. So the one that hit the straw house penetrated the armor 100%. Remember, it had no armor, so you can't not penetrate that. Meanwhile, this guy, the 31, the one that hit the wood house, remember, this was a lightly armored structure, got 100% penetration. As long as the penetrator does more penetration than the armor, it automatically penetrates it completely. Something sounds really dirty about that. I can't quite put my finger on what that's about. When we take a look at the damage, the straw house got obliterated. It actually did double the damage to it. Now, our wooden house on the flip side also received double damage. Now, it's kind of interesting how that works out. So we're going to go ahead and zoom out here. And remember, we have another weapon on the way. And here it comes. Whee! Boom. Okay. Now, this is the one you all wanted to see. Special armor. Let's see how we did here. So the impact struck the brick house. It was a very clean hit. Damage. The brick house was damaged. It took 313 damage. Pause. Now you're sitting here saying, wait a minute, that 313 number sounds familiar. It does, and we'll take a look at that in a second. We can see weapon end game here and missed by like 30 feet, no big deal. And we can see that we took a little bit of damage here. So if I click on the brick house real fast, let me go reset everything real quickly here. We took 313 damage. Unfortunately, because of our, no, that was the original shot. Let's see here, weapon damage. We can see 100% penetration. Armor penetrated, 40% penetration. So you can see that because the special armor matched the special penetration of the penetrator, again, don't think dirty thoughts here, because of that, it did only some damage. Now, you noticed a minute ago, I said, well, what about that weird 300 number that we saw a minute ago? Didn't we see that recently? Yeah, as a matter of fact, if we go back over to the shooter real quick, and we grab that weapon that he had a minute ago until he went ahead and wasted it. Let's see here. Looks familiar? It does. So in this particular case, if you have a massive penetration, it does double damage. If you just penetrate it because you're like basically balanced armor, you do basically your full damage to the target. Kind of interesting. All right, actually, I'm going to do some quick math here. Woo, helps if you actually do it. 363 times 2. Ta-da! Does that number look familiar? Yeah, roughly. All right, so hopefully this video is helpful. Again, at the end of the day, if you're trying to use a weapon that cannot penetrate, for example, a 50 caliber machine gun against a battleship, it's going to take a little while, and you might not even actually do any real damage to it, because once you get below a certain amount of damage, it doesn't do anything to it. But hopefully this video is kind of helpful as far as revealing some of that stuff to you. Again, it's just kind of neat to kind of see those things side by side. At the end of the day, if you have a weapon that's designed to get through armor, it's going to get through armor, and it's going to do its full damage. If you try to use that same weapon against something that doesn't have armor, it's going to do basically double damage. Good stuff. Enjoy.